And now on Radio Flange Goblet, entertainment news with Fenella Pring and Tone Binge Quarter. Hi, I'm Fenella Pring.
And hi from me too. I'm Tone Binge Quarter, and this is Sports Desk.
Entertainment news.
Right, entertainment news. I'm pretty sure that's what I said.
I have a master's degree in advanced robotics, and I minored in comfortable yet highly slinky swimwear at the University of Ouch, sister, you're sitting on my corns in Wisconsin.
And I look good in a tight suit and did advanced teleprompter reading at the Clough Penholder School for Diseased Seafood. Hollywood Tonight, already rocked by controversy and shaken to its knees by recent allegations, is now in out-and-out war. A militant group of bland, pale white actors, who are practically interchangeable and indistinguishable from each other, have taken over the famous and historic Paramount lot and are threatening to detonate a large drum of hair wax and a dumpster full of skinny jeans if they're not taken more seriously. Tom Hiddleston was seen by Entertainment Helijet 8 earlier today, swinging wildly on a flagpole, draped in a tasteful Brunello Susanelli wool pig lapel tuxedo, offset with a racy pink Gucci Fedra silk jacquard tie, declaring freedom for tall, thin British males with aw shucks attitudes who can do rubbish impressions of people and who are occasionally photographed cuddling dogs. Tom Hardy, Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and James McAvoy were all reported to be heavily armed, wearing tank tops and thin-style wool suit pants, slightly perspiring and practicing their moody stares out of fake windows they've constructed out of lots and lots of mirrors that were just lying around after James Franco stopped by to admire his own face. And we're hearing reports that Channing Tatum, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Jared Leto have splintered off into their own group and are staging a bed-in protest to the fact that despite being able to take stage names, they've chosen to keep their own very, very silly names, and people won't stop taking the piss out of them or harboring desires to hit them with a meat hammer in the neck. Breaking news now that a band of schlubby actors that we still can't believe we once found funny, all with stuffy nasal issues and annoying laughs, probably due to their repeatedly admitted marijuana use, despite it ceasing to be edgy, cool, or interesting 40 years ago, have taken over the Universal lot. Reports, however, that Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, and Jonah Hill were all violently and gorily gunned down by a cabal of attractive women tired of being paid considerably less than their male counterparts to be their implausibly beautiful wives or girlfriend foils in films that were definitely beneath them, are sadly premature, and eyewitnesses report the three men to still be very much alive. Fuck. In better news, though, we hear Zac Efron has been wrapped in a sheet and beaten repeatedly with batons by riot police as he attempted to leave the Paramount lot to procure some ludicrously named beverage from a nearby Starbucks. The police are there currently struggling to hold back a swarm of 13-year-old girls high on prescription mood-altering medication and overexposure to Snapchat filters. The eye roll from 1,000 actresses and in turn poor underprivileged people the world over was deafening today.
So, now that Tone has hogged all of the news, it's just left for me to say, I wonder what's going on over at the after-movie diner.
You're listening to the After Movie Diner with your host, Jon Cross.
Left a bit. No, up a bit. Up a bit. Up a bit. Up a bit. Left. Up. Perfect. Yes, hello and welcome to the After Movie Diner. And here I am just coming into your ear holes right this very moment to just tell you a few things that you may not know. You may know already and therefore you're fast forwarding this or cursing my name out loud. Or indeed you might want to know but can't find them on our website because you're somehow mentally impaired. And that is, we would love to hear from you, the listeners. In which case, contact us on email at hello@aftermoviediner.com. That's hello@aftermoviediner.com. Or you can call us at 347-669-0053 and leave us a voicemail. That's 347-669-0053. Or you can leave us a voicemail over at speakpipe.com/After Movie Diner. Why don't you do it? Also, if you love the diner, and I know you love the diner because you've listened this far and you have not thrown up yet, then you could always support the diner in many varied and interesting ways. One of the ways we would love you to support us is rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, anywhere where podcasts are found and are able to be rated and reviewed. Find us, rate, and review us. That would be fantastic. Also, if you see us posting on social media, and boy do we post on social media, share, like, comment. I know you might think, yeah, but we have the same friends, John. Or you might think, yeah, but what's sharing with the new algorithms, blah, 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 blah. No one ever sees them, da, 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 da. Not true. The more interaction a post gets, whether it shares, likes, comments, things like that, the more people see it, the more eyes are on it. And I've actually had people who I know are good friends of mine who like the diner, when I've tweeted out an episode or Facebooked out an episode, and they've gone, we didn't even know you had a new episode out. And I'm like, and yet they're, top friends of mine on Facebook. So share, tweet, like, retweet, tell your friends, whatever it is, just do all that stuff. And it literally takes 30, it's just a click. It's just a click of a button. Just share it. Don't even have to write anything. Just share it. Just whatever you can to get interaction on social media. That would be tremendous. Lastly, you can also shop on Amazon through the After Movie Diner website. Go to aftermoviediner.com, click the banner at the top of the page, and then go on and do your Amazon shopping as normal. It will cost you no extra, but Amazon give us a little kickback as a thank you. So please bookmark aftermoviediner.com as amazon.com and do all your normal shopping through there. That would be tremendous. However, if you are the sort of person who's like, that's all very well, John, any old muggins can do that, they're free ways to support the diner. They're things that don't cost me anything. I want to spend my hard-earned cash on you and all the wonderful episodes that you put out throughout a year. I want to show my appreciation with the old green. And to you people, I say, you are some of the finest and greatest people of the land. Well, there are many ways to do that. You can go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/After Movie Diner and sponsor the show for as little as $1 an episode. You can keep the lights on. You can keep the cookers burning here over at the After Movie Diner. You can keep the chat flowing and the green tea piling up in the background because no one wants to drink that hideous crap. Head on over to patreon.com, patreon.com/After Movie Diner and support us today. And if you support us, you actually get stuff back. You actually get rewards. You actually get exclusive Patreon content. You can win movies. You can get t-shirts. You can get all sorts of cool stuff just by supporting us on Patreon. Go do it, you mugs. And lastly, I guess the other way to do it, which would be amazing, would be to support my music over at miskplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com. That's MISC plumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com. Go check it out. Buy an album. I think the most expensive of the albums are $6. So do that. Or look up Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures on Spotify. Just hit play and just stream them day and night, day and night, day and night until I've accrued enough 0.0007 of a penny to be able to afford a cup of coffee of my own, even though I drink tea and Boylan's soda. Anyway, enough of all this tosh. Let's head on over to an actual diner, shall we? Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of the After Movie Diner. Ooh, and we're back, ladies and germs. We're back. Yeah, this is right. For a while, we've had quite a few Skype episodes, And Jim and I kept trying to get
A higher quality of criticism.
higher quality of recording. And I shouldn't say that. I've loved every guest that we've had on the show. But there's nothing quite compares to, thank you so much, sitting down in an actual
Opposite my stupid face.
New York diner, opposite your, as you quite rightly pointed out, very stupid face.
It is. It actually gets stupid
As you get older. We just kept kind of crossing paths, and there was a lot of, like, we were both sick, and it was the lead up to Christmas, and we were both busy, and there was a lot of, like, I don't know if this was going on with you, but there was a lot of, like, getting to the actual day. We'd make the plan. We'd get to the actual day, and then we'd be like, you know what, I really can't be bothered.
Well, usually,
and the only people who lose out on that are the listeners.
That's true.
It really is true.
Mostly you cancelled, and then I did feel like that elated buzz of a cancelled plan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Larry David has a whole theory that a cancelled plan is better than a made plan, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm glad
the
to
night
agree with that.
you're getting ready to go out to a party or a gathering or a dinner or anything, it can even be something you want to go to. If the person you're going with calls up and goes, actually, no, you could go, you're never like, oh, I really wanted to do that. That feeling never happens.
No, that's true. What do you? I mean, I know this is going to sound like a dumb question.
All right. By the way, we are in the Westway Diner on 43rd and 9th.
Serving the community since 1988.
Since 1988.
Which only seems like 1988, but that was 30 years ago.
So wait a minute, we're in the Westway Diner on its 30th anniversary.
We are.
Look at that right there.
Nice.
Because it's 2018, Jim.
Oh my God, that's not even a year. That's not proper. That's not real.
In the year 2018. That's not a song, but
it could have been.
I was watching a movie the other day, and it was like, in the future, in 2017, and I was like, ah.
When was Demolition Man? Wasn't Demolition Man like 2016?
I don't know.
Might have been. I think it was 2016.
But yeah, here we are in 2018. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year, man.
This will most likely be the second official episode of 2018.
I'm sorry I couldn't be there for the first, but I'm sure once I can get the bloody movie pass to work.
Once we get the ball rolling, ladies and germs, because Jim and I are trying. He's got the movie pass.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's very
You like
kind of
something
you.
to drink at the moment?
Not for the moment. I'm happy with water right
can I
now.
get a cup of tea?
Thank you.
Cup of tea?
With milk.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
You ready to order?
No, not
Take
yet.
your time.
No. Thank you so much. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I'm trying to get the movie pass.
I have the movie pass.
You have the movie pass, but it is yet.
It was going to be a
But no,
bargain,
it
right?
worked for Dracula.
It worked for. I've had it for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I've used it once.
Yeah.
So they are raking in the cash.
Well, they got $30 off you.
Yeah, and
But
I guess
you-
Dracula cost 15.
Dracula was like 15, and today's was 16, and hopefully you'll get that reimbursed.
Well, I hope I'll get, but they might not.
And if they reimburse you, you're up $1, mate.
Oh, come on, reimbursement. Come on.
It was funny, Jim, when it all messed up and wouldn't work and had to like get the tickets, the funny thing was he was like, this is like the 5th time I've been shafted, and he actually had a long story about all these other people who he stepped up to and got money back.
Yeah.
But it was a bit
It was a holiday period of people ripping me off, and then me having to write to them and go, excuse me, did you know you ripped me off? Can I have my money back, please? And they gave me my money back.
By ripping him off, what he means is he paid for something. He realised that actually what he paid for was pretty disappointing, which, by the way, is the experience of almost 90% of customers in the year 2018.
Yeah.
He paid for something, and then he like wrote to them constantly until they went, "Oh, give this goon his money back for fuck's sake."
Nobody referred to me as a goon.
As
far as I know.
Just now, I remember.
As far as I know, nobody referred to me as a goon.
I might just have to go ham, egg, and fries.
Okay, here's my question, right? And I know this is going to sound like a dumb question.
It's going to be a very dumb question.
I've never heard of walnut pancakes before. Do you think it's just pancakes with walnuts in it and that's it? It's just as simple as that?
Okay. Well, you could ask the lovely lady here what exactly they are, but I would assume that, yeah.
Walnut pancakes. This is going to sound like a stupid question. Is that just
He
pancakes
is
with
very
walnut
stupid.
in
Go
them?
with walnut inside.
Right, so
Yeah.
it's a stupid question. Okay.
No, it's
all
a
right,
very
okay.
stupid question.
That was
Tell
a
him how
pretty
stupid he
question.
is. Tell him how stupid he is.
No. I don't know, I'm kind of tempted by walnut pancakes now.
Well, you have to have something else with them. You can't
They're
just
very
have walnuts.
No, I don't have to have something else with them. I can just get walnut pancakes if that's what I want.
Okay, Nutella and maple syrup. And...
God.
No, all right, whatever. He's weird. I'll leave him.
I'm going to get the Roma omelette. with
French or French fries?
toast. Just
So
toast.
what was that whole
A whole
walnut
wheat toast.
pancake thing?
Well, I was tempted. Just whole wheat toast. That's it.
Whole wheat toast, no
Yeah.
potatoes?
No, no potatoes.
All right. And for you?
I'd like 2 eggs over easy with ham and fries.
French fries?
French fries, yes please.
Whole wheat, white or rye toast?
Rye please. Can I have the toast on the side?
Of course, sure. Anything else?
No, that's the lot.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was very tempted by the walnut pancakes. but
Yeah,
I
you
figured
were.
I
There was
should-
a whole walnut pancake thing, and I
I
got
really
so
wanted to
excited.
have them, but it's not really proper dinner, is it?
No, but nothing you like. I'm constantly amazed. Like I think we would need to chart it, but I think that I roughly order 3 meals. It's either a burger, ham, egg, and chips, or when we go to Kellogg's, I have the shrimp and the.
You know what? Can I change? I will get the walnut pancakes, not the omelette. Is that okay? Thank you. Sorry to be a pain.
No, you are the biggest pain.
I was
Did you really just change your order?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, he's going for the walnut
I'm going
pancakes.
for the walnut pancakes.
You're just having plain walnut pancakes.
Plain walnut pancakes.
Nothing on them.
Nothing on it. Well, there'll be syrup and butter and stuff.
I guess so.
What? There's nothing wrong with a walnut pancake.
No, there's nothing wrong with a walnut pancake. Okay then. But no, so I normally one of 3 things.
Right.
And I don't quite know why that is. It's just, it ends up being the thing.
Maybe it's because you're dull.
Dull. Yeah.
Could be just 'cause
Or
you're dull, mate.
maybe because I found something that I like and I'm not skirting around the menu looking for madness like walnut pancakes.
Sort of like the whole lumberjack shirt beard thing you've got going on. Like, it took you a while to get there, but now that you've found it, that's where you stick it.
No, not at all. It's
No?
literally the fact that when you go into shops that I can afford to shop in, like
Right.
Kmart, that's your choice.
They sell more than...
You can get plain shirts,
Yep.
or you can get check shirts.
right.
And occasionally,
That's true,
a
they are a
striped
bit crazy
shirt.
like that. But
But
it's
the
like-
kind of people who wear striped shirts, especially like those shiny striped shirts like they sell in Kmart.
I have been known to wear non-shiny striped shirts.
Right, non-shiny striped shirts is fine, but the ones
I'm
they
just
sell
going
in
to tell you to
Kmart...
tread carefully, but there is, you don't care if you offend me. Couldn't
No,
give
not
a
at all.
monkey's.
Look at
Couldn't give
this.
a monkey's.
Look at this sweater you're wearing.
Listen, my wife gave me this
No,
sweater.
no.
So if you want to go after my wife,
No, it's lovely, but
You go after me, mate.
It is. If there was
you can't go after my wife.
If there was a sweater version of the Roger Moore safari jacket, and I mean this as a compliment.
In all, yeah.
In all, no, and also it's weirdly, although it is the sweater version of the Roger Moore safari jacket, it's also strangely like something that an off-duty Stasi officer might wear while he's sitting in
I
his
feel
brown
like-
room
I feel like it's,
watching old Russian cop shows.
I feel like I feel there's a bit of a Neeson, like an
True.
off-duty Neeson to it. No?
That sweater is strangely off-duty Neeson.
Yeah.
You've almost, in fact, if you mix together a kind of weirdly octagonally faced Stasi officer in his late 50s
Right.
with Roger Moore's safari jacket, you get Neeson.
You
I
get
mean, that's
off-duty
really,
Neeson, yeah.
that's really what you're looking at right now.
I can live with that.
So yeah, so having avoided each other successfully for many weeks, unfortunately we're back. No, I don't mean that at all. I absolutely loved it. Already this has been my favourite episode of the last 6 months. So that's wonderful.
Okay, good.
And it's great to be back here in a diner, and this is the Westway Diner, and it's just 2 blocks. 1 avenue block and 1 street
Which is good
block
because
away
we'll
from
probably end up going
the
to
AMC.
42nd Street like a fair bit, I guess.
Yeah.
If we're going to just go see blockbusters.
Well, it's not that we're going to go see blockbusters, and we always do this. We always go, well, we're going to do this. Well, we're going to do that. No, we're going to.
I just mean like whatever's out in the cinema that catches our fancy.
Yeah.
Then we'll end up coming to 42nd Street
Well, because
more than we were before.
what ended up happening was towards the end of last year, there was a bunch coming out that I did kind of want to catch. That I ended up not catching for 2 reasons. A, because we didn't do this for a while, and B, because like Kim wanted to see them, and then what ends up happening when you're very busy like Kim and I are, you go, oh, we'll go next weekend, and then next weekend something happens, and you're like, well, I'll probably be in the cinema the following Wednesday, we'll go then, and then it never happens. So there was a whole bunch I didn't get to see, and this way I'm just going to be like, well, I'm going to go and see them with Jim and have done with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I like the sound of that. I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, but because I think so. the other thing that's kind of taken off more regularly since last we hung out was that I've been doing the trivia night on a Tuesday more and more with
nice.
Marcus who you met at my engagement drinks
Yes.
on Tuesday nights in Brooklyn. So like, for me to have like nothing on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then like trivia every Tuesday and movies every Thursday.
You're living the dream, mate.
Well, but that's kind of like, I like that.
I mean, no, your dream.
You know where you are with that.
Yeah, I know what you
know
mean.
what I mean?
Yeah.
There are people going, well, where are you? Well, I'm right here. And I'm doing exactly what I want.
I know
and
what you
then
mean.
they're like,
No, I have the same thing. I have Saturdays where I do absolutely bugger all. Like,
Yeah.
no plans, nothing. And ideally, I'd like to squeeze 2 naps in.
Two.
Like early afternoon
Yeah.
and early evening.
It is incredible that you are a napper. It's almost like you're a menopausal woman.
Well, there are
And I
there are
say
other
that
similarities.
I say that with all due respect to menopausal women. It's just
Right.
the only people I know who take a lot of naps happen to be menopausal women.
So you know a lot of menopausal women.
I
You
know-
know more menopausal women than me. So
I
you know
know-
more than one.
I know one who takes a
that's-
lot of naps.
So you could equally
And I'm
say
exaggerating
to her, you could equally
just so
say to
that I
her,
can...
you remind me, do you know what I mean,
Of an
of an
off-duty
off-duty Neeson.
If you're an off-duty Neeson, you'd have to talk like
Family.
this.
How many times have we said the word family in a film?
Family.
It's like he's the
Take
he's
your
the new
hands
Ray
off my
Winston.
wife.
Family.
Family.
Instead of family, it's family.
Family. I moved here from Ireland, but my accent's going to
Family.
waver all over the shop.
Family.
Good. So...
Jean-Claude Van Damme never had it as easy as Neeson. Neeson's like, I moved here from Ireland. Boom, that's it.
Well, 'cause if you
Van
said
Damme
something-
never goes, I moved here from Belgium. People go, oh yeah, fine, okay. Do you know what I mean? It's always like, well, I was brought up in an orphanage and there were nuns, or I've got a twin brother. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank
You know what I
you.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's
no,
always...
Van Damme always
Neeson's
had
not like,
to-
oh, well, I grew up in an orphanage.
Right.
It's just like, I moved
Or
here
they
from
had
Ireland.
to set
Yeah.
it in the future where for some reason everyone was
Everyone
just
speaks
okay
Belgian.
with Belgians going around the place.
right.
It's funny, having lived in New York for 9 years come March, and the diverse and weird and wonderful place that it is, one of the few things I've never bumped into is a Belgian. You just never.
That is, that
you just
maybe,
never bump
maybe
into
that's it.
So therefore, it has to be the future. He has to be a robot. He has to have a mullet and be in New Orleans, because New Orleans he can kind of get away with
The whole French, like,
Frenchy
Creole
twang.
thing.
Right. And then, or he has to be raised in an orphanage by mad French
Or a
nuns.
time traveller.
Or a time traveler. Well, that's the future, isn't it?
Well, no, not if he's from the present. I think. No, okay, yeah, good point.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Yeah, don't go all crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. And so that is. But whereas Neeson
Neeson is strolling anywhere.
stolen anyway.
With his, I moved here from Ireland.
Yeah. And what's funny is that I think that the majority... So anyway, let's just say we are reviewing this week The Commuter, starring Liam Neeson in The Commuter. Keep up. They've already read the description on the website. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant, like leaving them in suspense. They've got to listen to the podcast, which is called episode 200 and whatever, The Commuter. So they're well aware of what
there'll be
it
a picture
is.
of
They don't
Liam
think it's
Neeson.
going to be a conversation about commuting.
All right, so
they think it's about the movie.
First question.
Right.
I'm not sure about the answer to this, but did Liam Neeson punch more throats than his throat was punched?
No. His throat was punched
more,
way
right?
more than he throat, which severely diminishes this movie in the Neeson throat puncher world.
It does.
So, it's by the same director as Unknown, Non-Stop, and Run All Night.
Yeah.
And
Two of those films are good,
two of those films are
and
good.
one of those films is not.
And one of those
And
films...
unfortunately...
Hang on a second. And one of those films, Unknown, is like 50-50. It definitely... Unknown to me, I think, deserves a rewatch, because I'm not entirely sure. But it was when we first came out of the cinema on 83rd Street when we went to see it.
It was the same as this
86th
one.
Street, sorry.
It was the same
hang
as
on
this
hang on a second. On 86th Street. When we
Yes.
first came out of the cinema.
86th Street, famous Metro North station stop.
Yeah, right. Well, now you're telling jokes without
Sorry,
any
I'm
press on it. But you're right, yeah, totally bollocks that this movie
What?
decided. They
What I
decided
don't
that the
get-
Metro North and the subway were one and the same thing.
Also, they had like the train
And at one
ends
point
in
it-
Cold Spring, which it doesn't. It like ends. Great, thank you very much.
That is pancakes with walnuts in it. It's almost
Thank
like
you.
a walnut pancake.
Anything else, you let me know.
That's
Thank you
fantastic.
very much.
Thank you
Lovely,
so much.
brilliant.
She has absolutely no time for my walnut pancake jokes,
No.
which I don't blame her. Yeah, let's not get bogged down in the
It's just...
It also went to Harlem 125th Street, which the subway does, but on a completely different line to the subway that runs up the
No,
east
but the
side.
thing is, the line past Harlem 125th was accurate, right? Beacon is after Cold Spring. That's where I go. That's the line I ride every time I go and see Teresa's folks. But the point is, the line ends like 3 stations after Cold Spring. So why put in a bunch of made-up stations at the beginning,
Right.
and then have it end 3 stations before it ends anyway?
And then to have this whole thing about the end of the line. Yeah. Well, look, it's totally irrelevant. So let's start the podcast as we always do. Is this is a new film,
Right.
And therefore there are going to be spoilers, and it is a new film. Should people go and spend
No.
their hard-earned
No,
money
if
to
that's
see
the
The
question,
Commuter?
the answer is definitely no.
And I would have to, agree with you. I would
What?
have to say, out of the only Neeson movies that were more disappointing than this one were Taken 2 and 3. All the other Neeson movies I'd more or less liked.
I have to say this is why it reminds me of Unknown.
And Taken
I was
3 might
disappointed.
beat it just because it has Forest Whitaker eating a lot of
Yeah.
bagels, and this lacked Bagel Whitaker.
You have to say though that Taken 3 you expected to be bad.
No,
right?
Taken 3 was atrocious. Taken 3, there's actually like a video online where it's like, look how many edits it was for him to just get over a fence.
Oh,
It's
I remember
something like
watching
28
it. Yeah, it was like,
edits
what?
for him to get over
I think
a
I
fence.
stopped watching it at that exact point.
It's so
right?
badly made. Anyway. Well,
Okay, no. They sort of stuck a waffle with no... Oh, there's some walnuts in it. But I was getting ripped off for walnuts.
oh God, here we go,
all of a
ladies and
sudden,
gentlemen.
all of a sudden, I have standards
Ah.
with a walnut. But like, hang on a minute, I'm being ripped off with this dish of food that I've literally never even heard of
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
This is how you do walnut pancakes, I assume.
This one, excuse me. This one definitely has slightly less walnuts than this one on top.
This isn't how you make a walnut pancake, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
this is probably, it's certainly the most disappointing of the 4 of them. I would have rather watched Unknown than this one, to be honest. Because at least
there's
Unknown
some-
had
but
Aidan Quinn being chubby Neeson substitute.
But what I like about... just quickly, right? The guy can direct. There's no question about that. Like, the
Yeah.
fight scenes were really good.
Yeah.
There was some really there were some funny moments that,
Yeah.
that were filmed in a funny way, even if the script wasn't.
There was
great.
only one dodgy handheld shaky cam
Yeah,
moment,
it
and
was-
that was in the pub where I was like, why is this handheld?
Yeah,
but the
right.
rest of it was fine.
Yeah, and the fights were really good and thumping and so
The CGI
All the
Neeson and the
bits that-
CGI train were a bit
yeah, that's
awful.
true. But the all the stuff that in Run All Night and Non-Stop, which is a good character in a stressful situation trying to figure it out, was great. But all the stuff that was about Unknown that I hated, which was like, this is like a high concept film that you haven't made any sense of. Like,
Right.
none of the twists make any sense. It's boring. Like, actually, when you think about what your concept is, it's just boring and doesn't
Right.
work. Because essentially what they've done is, what if we had a film where Liam Neeson sat down next to people and started awkward conversations with them? I don't want... Why would I pay money to watch somebody
Well, that's not-
have
you're talking
awkward
about The Commuter
conversations?
now.
Yeah, The Commuter.
Yeah,
why
yeah.
would I want to watch someone have awkward
Well, no, I was
conversations?
going to say that the middle act of this film is essentially, if you've ever wanted to see Neeson wander around a CGI Metro North train, muttering to people unconvincingly about stuff. What's happened now?
No, just... I think there was a random black hair inside the pancakes.
Well, that's Smucker's fault. That cannot be blamed on the Westway Diner.
No, I know, I agree.
Smucker's the producer of quality pancake syrup since never.
This is not how you make pancakes, Eric, I assume.
So let's okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I've jumped ahead. I've jumped ahead.
We have
I've jumped
jumped ahead, and it's poor show. So people shouldn't watch it. That's
No.
look. Don't
If
waste
it
your
came
money
on
on it.
Netflix, fast forward, the first 45 minutes?
At least.
Up until the bit where he starts talking to even that's all rubbish as well.
The Famiga bit's all rubbish, and the whole concept is utterly rubbish from start to finish.
It
But
is
anyway,
utter balderdash.
anyway.
Right, let's try a bit of walnut pancake.
And while Jim tries walnut pancake for the first time,
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da.
I assume, and I'm going to go out on a ledge here, but I assume it tastes like walnuts wedged into a pancake.
Not probably, but that doesn't mean that's not a taste worth having.
True. For me, I would be bothered by the soft gooiness of the pancake and then the crunchy of the walnut. That would bother
good.
me. It's good. Okay, good. I'm glad you're happy. I have to say that my ham, egg, and fries particularly good as well. So, the Westway Diner so far, high marks. enthusiastic service, and very nice food. And they put up with us, so, whatever.
To a point.
To a point.
I feel like they're no
How
longer.
is everything so far?
Very good, thank you.
Wonderful, thanks so much. So I'm gonna quickly do this.
All right, we'll go for it.
Neeson is a convenient ex-cop. In other words, conveniently an ex-cop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he was just an insurance agent, this movie.
I feel like they should have done that earlier because he started to. First of all, I'm like, with the whole I'm an insurance agent thing for the first half an hour, I'm like, why do we give a shit about Liam Neeson as an insurance agent?
Right.
Like, it's literally the dullest thing I could do.
Well, no. So okay.
If they just told us early,
So
I might have stuck with it.
The director and the script have decided that the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie really needs to set up the fact that Neeson has been a average middle class up and down family guy. At the beginning, there is and I'm gonna say this,
It's not very good,
an
is it?
irritating
It's not-
montage.
I can see what he's trying to do.
Me too.
Like, every day's the same, blah blah blah. But it's quite.
But an
boring.
irritating montage trying to make Neeson your run-of-the-mill, middle-aged family guy, father of a teenage son about to go off to university, with a wife where he has a kind of very traditional, cozy, routine relationship with that's neither anything special but also nothing terrible either. You know what I mean? The worst we see is on a rainy day she gets a bit pissed off that he doesn't listen too well, which was kind of put in there just to be like, oh, marriage, eh? So we get this big montage, which the trouble with that is that it's set up essentially to
Make him
show.
boring.
No, it's set up to do two things. First of all, it's to make him boring, but it's also to kind of show you what it is that he doesn't want to give up, kind of thing, or that he's fighting for, sort of thing. We find out in another montage of him trying to sell life insurance to people in a swanky office in Manhattan that him and his wife lost everything in the 2008 crash and have been living sort of paycheck to paycheck ever since, with her trying desperately to sell real estate and in the post-2008 crash, and him being an insurance agent, having quit his job as a cop 10 years earlier for his family. We're told a lot of like this sort of detail, and it's not redundant detail, it's just the way we're told it is particularly
But it is
boring.
redundant because the point is, it's only saying that it's not as if the wife and the son are like fleshed out to three-dimensional characters, right? The point of having a dull beginning to your action movie is you then plunge that guy into action like quick, smart. You know what I mean? Like 5-10 minutes into the movie, if you're setting him up as a nice, boring life, right? You've got to like upset that apple cart much quicker than they do in this movie. It's like it felt like most of my life before, like anything even vaguely approaching exciting.
Okay, so
And plus, sorry, just
hang
very
on a
quick.
second.
No,
We
just
haven't
very
even got
quick.
through the plot yet.
I know, but oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I do that so much when you recap the plot. I see now why you make me recap the plot because I can't keep my fucking gob shut when you're doing it.
Right, because we're going down tangents that really, at the end of the day, are not relevant. It doesn't matter whether it's like redundant or not. This is how the movie went. So he gets fired for his insurance job, and the very next scene we see him meeting his ex-partner, played by Patrick Boring Wilson, who is Patrick Boring Wilson in absolutely everything that Patrick Boring Wilson is. And then we get a tantalizing glimpse of Sam Neill, looking amazing. And I'm like, can we have a movie about that character? Except that at the end of the movie, it even turns out that he's an awful character as well. Anyway, I don't mean awful in the sense that he's a bad guy, because he's not.
I
I mean
only
awful
assume-
in the sense that he spouts some very generic dialogue about why don't you come back to the
Well,
police force.
I think maybe his winery needed like a new AC unit or something.
Right.
It's like it's a day's filming at best.
It's a day's
Sam.
filming for Sam Neill, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of his on-location shot later on was actually filmed in front of a blue screen in New Zealand, and he just faxed the fucking film to the production company.
Which I would be fine with,
Me too.
because what he was given deserved no more than that.
Right, exactly. So, but
But if he'd done it in his underpants while drinking a bottle of wine,
right, but the biggest. Okay, so we meet Sam Neill as the new chief of police who clearly used to be who clearly used to be Neeson's level and has risen way above him and his partner. And Patrick Boring Wilson, who says, like, don't worry, I'll help you out, and blah, 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 blah. And we hear Neil say, well, I spend most of my time at City Hall these days, right? Which is meant to be like a red herring honkathon right there. So you're already like, okay, that was random. And the trouble with showing Sam Neill at the beginning the way they did, it's two things. First of all, you're already aware at like the 6-minute mark how this movie's going to go, who's behind everything, and you're also aware that you also then spend the next 50 minutes to an hour. No, you spend the next hour and 15 minutes going, where is Sam Neill? Like, bring back Sam Neill.
Yeah.
They also like throw a bunch of other people. Vera Farmiga shows up for one scene. Jonathan Banks shows up from all those 80s movies, and people now know him from Breaking Bad. But I always know him as like the goon in Beverly Hills Cop and the goon in 48 Hours. He shows up for like a couple of cameos, and it's essentially meant to be like Neeson gets his famous mates along for 5 minutes just to kind of throw some, cats amongst the pigeons kind of thing, but it doesn't really work. We then have Neeson gets fired, drinks with his friends, gets on the train.
Home to his wife.
Going home to his wife, who he hasn't told about being fired yet. He loses his phone while the police are checking bags at Grand Central Station. He clocks a suspicious character on the platform, gets on the train. Vera Farmiga sidles up to him. After we literally see him walk through an entire train trying to find a seat. Now, if you've ever been on a commuter train and tried to find a seat, it's probably A, the least cinematic thing ever, and secondly, the most tedious thing ever. And the last thing I needed to see was
Not to this director.
Was a blow by blow. He didn't do it just once. He did it multiple times.
You can tell, like, is he French or something?
Yeah.
You can tell, he's a French bloke who got on the New York commuter train once and goes, it is so fabulous, it is so full of life here.
Yeah.
A bunch of miserable people went, fucking French, idiot.
Yeah. So, Vera Farmiga goes, hey, what if you did this thing? We gave you $100,000. You were none the wiser about what the consequences are, but you have to find someone on a train with a bag. You can do it. You're an ex-cop. And then she gets off the train enigmatically in a pair of awful shoes. Neeson goes to the bathroom, finds $25,000, which is like his down payment to prove that there's more money coming, grabs it, and then promptly starts to like look for the guy with the bag, getting it wrong at every turn. And essentially, this is where we start the longest, most drawn out, most tedious.
Oh no.
Like,
I think my favourite bit of the movie was watching Liam Neeson
walk up
walk
and down
to a train going, oh, I wonder if it's that bloke with a bag. Well, maybe it's this bloke with a bag. Hang on, maybe it's that bloke with a bag.
Yeah.
Are we going to be a month longer?
Yeah.
Am I really watching this?
Yeah.
Did somebody think this was a good idea for a movie?
Not only that.
Oh, wait a minute.
How
Strike out an awkward
about
conversation
when he
somewhere.
looked up on the wall to see what zone the station was in, and
That was
then
thrilling.
there was lots of rack focus shots of tickets that said Zone 7, right?
It's like, what? They're in Zone 7.
They're in Zone
Good,
7.
Don't care, forgot them already.
Yeah, don't care. None of them are relevant. So he's trying to find this character, and
That's it. That's the movie.
That's it.
But it turns out it's all a big conspiracy involving those fatheads at City Hall, etc.
Right. And instead of, I don't know, doing some detective work and finding it out themselves, they thought it would be much, much easier
Okay, can I just say
to
this?
put
right?
Neeson and the suspect.
About halfway through the movie, I thought, whoever Vera Farmiga should be fired summarily. She should never be allowed to do any evil plan again, right? Because somebody went, look, we need to kill this witness, right? We know they're getting on the train, so let's just derail the train. No, says Vera. I've got a better idea. Why don't we blackmail an ex-cop who doesn't know who this person is?
Who needs the money?
By the way, they can see everything except who the witness is.
Right.
Despite the fact they know they're getting on a train, but they don't know. It's It's an incredibly dumb plan. They're prepared to murder a train full of people by blowing the brakes, which works. And if they really don't care about killing everyone, then just do that and spare us this fucking movie. Just kill everybody on the train. Job done.
Occasionally, you get a glimmer of hope as Neeson goes tete-a-tete with someone, or mano-a-mano with someone.
Which was so annoying, because the fights are good.
Okay, so the fights are good. Neeson, though, the director has gone, okay, for this film, my directorial flourish is going to be Neeson's weird octagonal face. Because Neeson now looks like a cross between a lizard and a bat. Like, he just looks obscene at this point. He looks like a shaved owl. Like, he looks like a plucked owl, rather. He looks like a... I don't know. He looks like someone melting in a nuclear waste explosion.
There is a point, you know, like with...
But the director has gone, how about if I rack focus on his cheekbones into his crow's feet? And you've gone like, well, all right. But what? Okay, so for Neeson fans, the delight of this is he pulls more faces. This is the first time he's pulled this many faces since Darkman. In fact, this is his most face-pulling thing. And every time he pulled a face, I got a slight squeak of delight. And that was about it in this movie.
One thing I noticed he started doing is he started making Arnie noises to like indicate struggle. So you hear Neeson going, like, you know, when in an Arnie film somebody go, a whole scene's gone by, and all of it is Arnie going, that's what Neeson does in lieu of acting.
Yeah.
What the hell is this? Okay, here's my question, right? One of the reasons I was really looking forward to this movie is A, I really like Non-Stop, and I really like Run All Night, and I really like Neeson action films, and it's called The Commuter, and the poster was really cool. And he's like retired from action movies, supposedly, but now he's back. What the fuck is he doing back in this movie?
Right. I don't know.
There's literally nothing original or interesting or fun or cool about it.
It's not just that.
Unless he's going, I've never played an insurance agent before. I'd really like to nail that down.
Yeah.
I've got Death of a Salesman coming up. This would be the ideal
This
fucking
would be
practice.
the ideal thing. No,
If Death of a Salesman was directed by fucking Eli Roth, I suppose.
See, what was... They're all...
Michael Winner's Death of a Salesman.
Yeah, Michael Winner's Train Killer, starring Neeson, which would have been better than this film. No, I mean, look, Non-Stop is utterly ludicrous. However, what Non-Stop does is it plays to all its strengths and ignores all of its weaknesses and just goes hell for leather. Right? So it hasn't been more than 5 minutes and Neeson's already throat punched people. No, but Neeson has already got into a bathroom stall on a plane and throat punched someone to death, which is what I want to see. In this movie, I wait an hour for the first throat punching, and what absolute sin this movie does is that he gets throat punched more than he throat punches other people. And that's not allowed in a Neeson
The beauty of Non-Stop, the reason why Non-Stop works is he's an unreliable hero. You generally have no idea whether he's going to cause more trouble than he saves, right? So it's like, can he put himself... No, but I'm saying the charm of the character is he actually going to be able to pull himself together enough to do what he's supposed to do? Can he actually be an action hero in this movie, or is he going to fuck it up? Right? That's a genuine thing that's going on in that movie. But in this one, there's no... Like, he's already lost his job, right? His family have been kidnapped, maybe, probably not. Because they've got like really good audio quality of them talking. We've literally no idea what he's doing this for, because he's not going to take the money. We know that. His family, we don't really. There's no sense of them being in danger. That's left completely unclear.
Right.
And it's not like they've gone, if you do this, we'll get your job back. Or like, he's not really. He's too like. If he'd been fired like a year ago,
right?
You know, and he'd been riding this line back and forth, and having gone like a bit peculiar and not told his wife, that might be something. Do you know what I mean? Like, then he might be like, I don't want ever to find out, or here's my chance to be a hero, or like something. But this is like, It's just like it just happened to him. So he's had literally no time to process
Well,
losing his job, or what's at stake, or what his moral compass is, or fucking anything.
Well, the biggest problem with this movie is that
It's just him sitting down going, so, I see you've got a bag? Yeah, I've got a bag. Stop talking to me because you're weirding me out.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice bag, though. Do you go down the street with that bag? Yeah, I walk down the street with the bag. Oh, that's interesting. God, make it stop.
Yeah. Well, no, okay, so the problem is this. The best action films, while of course they have to have something at stake, blah, 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 and a character...
Don't blah, 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 my problems, mate.
I'm just saying, they ultimately, as long as it's a likable actor,
Yeah.
and there is something minuscule at stake that you might care about,
Right.
and within the first 10 minutes there are multiple throat punches, then I'm away. Like that, and you sustain that, that's great. The problem with this movie is that it's not no. First of all, it's completely underwritten in the sense that we're given the information we need, but in a very bland, uninteresting way. And there is no other character depth beyond what we're told literally at point blank range. Like we're told, oh, he's an insurance agent. He lost money in 2008. He used to be a cop. Like we're literally told that in bullet points, and that's it. There's absolutely nothing more to him than not. He might as well be a Neeson face stuck out on a broom handle. Like it really doesn't matter. That's the first thing. The second thing, if there is anything at stake, we certainly don't care about any of it whatsoever. And thirdly, it's an hour before anything happens of any relevancy.
The last half hour, where they gather together, well, they're all like gathered in the final carriage, and he like plays the cards. He's narrowed it down to 5 people, and then there's like punching and shooting and double crossing and Sam Neill. Like that's not bad. As far as a movie goes, there's a train crash, there's double crossing, there's hostages being against him, but then kind of being on his side. Even though I saw the I'm Spartacus moment coming,
right,
it was still pretty cool.
Right.
Like that last 20 minutes is not actually a bad movie.
No.
And there's a way of doing the movie before that would have worked if they changed his character. If they fuck all that, well, he's a great dad though. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Something else. Like, we don't need to meet his wife and his kid to know that he loves them, right? We don't have any. You get that movie, they look at a picture, a photo, and you go, right, he's got a wife and a son, and he loves them. The end. We don't need a fucking montage of dullness, because that's what it is. It's a montage of dullness. It was like bleaking me out, because I was going, oh god, this is my life. I wake up the same time every day. I watch the same news program. I get on the same train every day. My life is a meaningless wasteland of, and I go, hang on a minute, I'm watching a Liam Neeson action movie and I'm having an existential crisis 5 minutes in.
Yeah, that's what...
Fuck off.
Yeah, right.
You French bastard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even mind if that had some kind of point, but it doesn't. It's not as if it's like transcending.
Then we got stuck in the quagmire of, wait a minute, no Metro North train goes to the 86 and Lex subway stop.
I just don't understand, right? People get on and off the train. It doesn't matter where they get on and off the train. It literally doesn't matter. Right. So why have the train finish at Cold Spring, where it actually ends at Poughkeepsie, 3 stops further on, or 4 stops further on, and then add 3 extra non-subway stops at the beginning?
Yeah.
Like, if you live in New York and you know what 86th and Lexington is, in which case Metro North, the trains don't come, through. It'd be like being on the tube and catching the 7:20 to Portsmouth. Why is this train here? Right. You're on the wrong tracks, mate. You've taken a wrong turn somewhere, right? But then what? But why?
Right.
Why do
movies do that? Like, for example, there's a bit at the end of Thor 2 where they're having the big fight out at Greenwich Observatory, right? And they keep getting thrown through time portals and appearing in different places, and then he has to kind of get back to Greenwich Observatory to do the big fight. It's kind of really clever. I really enjoyed that. However, at one point he appears on a subway station at Charing Cross, and someone gets on the train in like full Thor regalia, and he's like, "How many stops to the Greenwich Observatory?" And they're like, 2 stops, mate. And he's like, "Great." And I'm like, "No, it's not." And you can Google that, like you can look it up. So someone somewhere went, "Well, we better make it Charing Cross." And I'm like, "Why?" Oh, thank you. Like, is Charing Cross somehow a well-known underground station? And if they'd actually said, I don't actually know, but if they'd said like Elephant and Castle or whatever, I don't know.
It would ruin the movie.
Would it ruin the movie?
In the testimony, it's we don't know where that is. We're confused. We hate your movie.
Can you make it Charing Cross, please?
Loud bloke at the back. What tube stations have you heard of? Charing Cross? Sold.
But it's literally like...
But like, why? But it's just like that's the kind of...
There's no need for it. And
Yes,
also,
that's the point.
Also, do you know what else was really bugging me? Is that they either filmed this in Canada or they actually filmed this in Europe. And I'll tell you why. It's because dodgy guy with the beard who lent him his phone, who has weirdly short arms for his body. Did you notice he had
Andy
like weirdly
Nyman, yeah.
short phone? Right. He's not American.
No, he's he was in the Charlie Brooker zombie film.
Okay, but he's English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has an atrocious American accent, which
Yeah.
sticks out like a sore thumb, right? A couple of the other people had really... Also, twice in the movie, he calls him mate. Sit down here, mate. And I'm like, Americans don't say that.
No, I thought that too, but it wasn't. He was saying Mike.
No, he was saying mate. He said mate twice in the
Are you
movie.
sure?
He said
'Cause
Mike.
I thought
no,
it was
no.
like a terrible
He
accented
said
Mike.
no. He said Mike at another point, but he said mate twice, and he sounded Australian because he was trying to say mate with an American accent while not doing a very good American accent. And there was at least so the black train guard is also
Oh, yeah, he's English.
British guy. He was in the Far Show,
Yeah.
and the other movie he appeared in was The Dark Knight. He plays like one of the councilmen or whatever.
No. He plays the police commissioner.
Police commissioner, right, that gets killed when
Yeah,
Gordon
yeah.
becomes right.
Yeah.
So, and that's because that's filmed in British Pinewood Studios or wherever that's
Oh,
filmed.
maybe that's it then. Maybe that's why they had Nyman and him.
So they had all the worst actors. But they clearly
But we
like.
had to do it because Sam Neill wouldn't fly all the way from New Zealand
Right.
to New York. Sorry,
I'm
mate.
telling you, they filmed Neil on a phone and somehow like put his face on some other actor.
Sam Neill should be in every...
They should have done a Neeson Neil like buddy cop movie.
Yes. Or even insurance agents investigate corruption. I'd still watch that, as long as they actually did something.
Right.
Except start awkward conversations
It was
with
no,
people.
but it was okay. So this
It
is
was the worst investigating
this
I've
is
ever seen.
this is a scene in this movie, right? So Neeson's in the pub, right? Some bad jokes about the fact that he's having 2 drinks at once of what looked like half pints of lager, like which again, not an American thing. Anyway, boring Wilson comes in and is boring at him, giving lots of exposition that's very tedious about how they used to be partners. And it's one of those scenes where instead of just fucking writing how people talk, they've written it, they've gone, oh, we can't just have him come in and go, hello, old partner, remember how we used to be on the police force together? Yeah. So the writer's gone, how do I disguise that? And so, like, there's a bit of tedium followed by a little bit more randomness, followed by him just going partner. And then Neil comes in as the captain.
That bit was very powerful. The way he walked over to Liam Neeson and said, "Hi, Mike."
Hi.
And then he said, "Hi." And then he goes, "Still an insurance agent?" Yep.
Yep.
End of conversation.
No, and then he goes over
Is Sam
to...
Neill like...
Then
Was,
he
it like,
goes,
was he being paid by the word?
But then
I
he
can
go-
only assume Sam Neill was being paid by the word.
No, but then he goes over to Wilson and says, can I talk to you for a minute? And Wilson goes, not right now, I've just got off the clock from a double shift. Again, utterly irrelevant information. I've just got off the clock for a double shift and I'm having a drink with a friend.
I'm no longer speaking.
And Neil goes, oh, okay, and walks off. And I'm like, so this entire... and meanwhile, on the TV, we get a quick shot of guy in City Hall,
Pat
Enrique
Kiernan.
someone or other, leaps to his death.
You're going, I wonder if this will be relevant.
I wonder if Boring Wilson, Sam Neill, and Enrique threw himself off a building will somehow have anything to do with the plot. At which point, you then have to sit through an hour and a half of Neeson on a train,
By the way,
not
the-
throat punching.
The point we're talking about, the tedious point, is already like 20 minutes into the movie.
What is?
That point when they go to the bar.
No, it's not. It's about 5 minutes in.
Oh,
It just
God,
felt like 20 minutes.
Oh, it felt so long.
The montage of his family were just over the beginning credits. Then there was like a minute tops of him being an insurance agent and then getting fired.
No, they had his commute into work where he had conversations with people.
Where he said to Jonathan Banks, hey, Walter. Oh, hey, Mike. Another day. Trains, eh? And then that was it.
Well, they go, oh, you're reading a book again. What books are you reading? Oh, yeah, he's off to college. They go, people don't talk on trains. They don't talk to each other. They're all miserable and they hate being alive.
Yeah.
Nobody goes,
No.
oh, nice book.
Yeah.
Although, like, what's his face is like, well, it's the same. I think we're just going to keep doing this until we die. Jesus. We can at least pretend to be a bit cheery, can we? Fucking hell.
Yeah, because what's weird
But that
about
was long, man.
But what's weird?
Montage.
It wasn't. What's weird? What's
weirdness.
weird about that sequence is that they are both at once incredibly chipper because they're like, oh, I like riding on this. Weirdly half-empty, like the commute
that was so
montage.
strange.
They're all sit around with their legs spread out and things. In reality, in the Metro North trains, like even the seats that face each other, you literally can't sit 4 people on it because your knees would be like banging up. They're so crushed in. Like the commuter trains here are awful. But what's hilarious is they're all like bathed in golden morning lights, sitting
They don't
around
have
reading
any. They don't have any. They
newspapers.
have 2 seats right down the end on Metro North trains. 2 seats right down the end. Oh, there is. It's a movie. So
No, they do. Going up to White Plains, that train has like at least 2 sets of booths in each compartment. Because I've ridden it a few times. But
Excuse me, can we get walnut
Very
pancake?
good.
Like that?
Yes, it was very tasty.
Camera
Just too much. No, I'm all right. Thank you. Thank you very
But
much.
again, the movie was so dull that we've actually descended into dullness ourselves. Talking about my whole point was, there's a whole
And the
bunch.
seats were not accurate either. I'm sure the finances of this movie are quaking in their boots. But did they like the seats?
No, it's not that.
But the seats were cool, right?
No.
Not even the seats.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, my point that I started was that the passengers were both inanely chipper in the sense that they all sat around,
Yeah,
knew
no
everyone
sorrows.
by first names, nodded, said hello, blah 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 blah. Again, doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Secondly, though, they were all ready to top themselves. They were both relentlessly chipper and like on the verge of suicide. Like Jonathan Banks at one point goes, well, I guess one more go round and then I'm dead, or something like that. And I'm like, wow. And then one more go round and he is dead. So I guess that's what it is. It's like heralding.
They were good. Yeah, they were
The script. It was the script's fault. The movie script was painfully bad.
Yeah, that's true. But anybody with half a brain, this is what I don't get about Neeson. You read that script, you think, well, this is just fucking boring.
Yeah.
Like, either make a film where you're delving into the inner life of like the bleak realities of middle class existence, which goes, fair enough, you might get an Oscar, but I won't fucking watch it.
Right.
Or throat punch some bad guys on a train,
Yeah.
in which case I'll definitely watch it. But don't put the two things together
Right.
and think that that's somehow meaningful. Like,
you imagine-
I want to make a film about the existential crisis of middle class America, but I'm so cynical about audiences that I'm going to have to punch some people in the face in order to watch it.
Can you imagine being the editor on this movie and sitting in the room with the director and the editor going, oh, so let's look at the stuff you shot today then about like this middle sequence. Like, we can probably cut a lot of this down, just like make it nice and snappy. Maybe we make it another montage. Maybe we like just show clips and stuff like that. And he's like, no, I want to see every tiny detail. And you're like, but wait a minute. So far, I've spent 8 hours editing pictures of Neeson's shoes walking up and down the aisle of a commuter train, notoriously one of the most boring places on earth.
Also, now that I think about it, the whole purpose of like, oh, we live the same day in and out, but makes like literally no difference to the plot.
No, none at all.
Like the fact that he's on that train. Okay, I mean, if you're going to believe like the absolute bollocks that is going on, okay, maybe. But like the fact that he's there he could have been on that train because he was going to visit somebody that day or anything. But there's no like, oh well, bruh, because I'm like, you know what I mean? There's no like, it's put the whole.
Well, no, there is.
What? Yeah, like, what?
The plot point of him being on the train every day is that he knows a handful of people and that helps
that's
him
true.
eliminate.
Yeah, okay, that's true, I guess. Well, there's no reason to send a federal witness. You know what? We've got a really valuable federal witness. We better send them to Cold Spring, a small town in New York State. Why?
On a train.
They're not safe here. Put them on a plane to Washington, or Virginia, where your headquarters are.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere is fine.
Or escort her. Well, I mean, I suppose they were technically escorting her, although their idea, apparently, the FBI's idea of escorting someone was send someone who looks like a dodgy terrorist with a big black bag onto a train and react incredibly dodgily every time anyone looks at her.
And don't sit with her.
Right.
Sit near her.
No, sit several carriages away, in fact.
We could go into it,
Yeah,
but we might risk like overreaching. But the truth is that there is a film to be made where Liam Neeson punches people on a moving train,
Yeah.
and I will watch that film.
You know what
But
they would
this
have
was
done?
not that film.
What they should have done is they should have combined Murder on the Orient Express
Yes.
and this movie and made it throat punching on the Orient Express.
Yes.
So that he could literally kill, and I don't mean in a movie, I mean for real, Kenneth Branagh and Johnny Depp. Just actually kill them. And then that would have been a better
I
movie.
don't know if I just need Kenneth Branagh to stop working. I don't need him to like die.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But that's the same with Johnny Depp. And I never thought I'd say that about Depp. I always thought I would find Depp interesting. And what happened is Depp never, ever, ever shook the few months he spent with Hunter S. Thompson before he made Fear and Loathing. If you watch like the documentary and like some of the behind the scenes and hear some of the conversation and about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, as well as them trying to get the Rum Diary made. There's a whole like backstory there with Depp working with Hunter S. Thompson. Like he discovered the Rum Diary as a book that was like in Hunter's basement that had never been released and all this sort of stuff. That friendship with Hunter and his exposure to Hunter meant that he stayed Johnny Depp, googly Johnny Depp. Like it's almost like it's been hardwired into his brain now. And he can never not be googly Johnny Depp.
I always felt like he said to Terry Gilliam after Lost in La Mancha, right, I'm going to go and make Pirates of the Caribbean and make us a shit ton of money so we can make this movie. I'll be right back. And no, it was never seen again.
Right,
that Johnny Depp was never seen. He made Pirates of the Caribbean and he never came back. He just went, oh, I like this. Everybody thinks you're important. You don't really have to work that hard. It's dead easy. I've got more cars than I know what to do with.
You know he owns an island.
And now I own an island.
And his own pirate ship.
What if I just keep making films with Tim Burton and Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Oh, God.
Yeah. Do you know he even said at one point he was going to mount his own Don Quixote movie? Like, what kind of a shit do you have to be to say to your friend Terry, I'm going to go away and make some money, you go away and make some money? Because that's what it was. He went off and did Pirates.
Yeah, and he went and did Brothers.
Terry went off and did Brothers Grimm. Terry, as usual, completely and utterly fucked everything up with Brothers Grimm.
Well, he's never been the same. He hasn't made a decent movie since. What was the movie he made before Lost in La Mancha? Fear and Loathing?
Was it Fear and Loathing? Might have been. No, 12 Monkeys was after Fear. No,
12 Monkeys was before Fear and Loathing.
yeah.
I think it was Fear and Loathing.
Yeah, I think
So
that
that was
movie,
the last decent movie that he
I think
made.
that movie is where like worlds diverge.
Yeah, it broke a couple of people. But he hasn't made a decent movie since then. And
I quite liked Zero Theorem. I didn't love it, but I quite
it
liked
was
it.
a fucking mess. It was the same as Dr. Parnassus. It's like I can't help thinking that sometimes Gilliam isn't a guy who should get what he wants all the time. When he's like constrained by budget or time or expectations, but he's still trying to be Gilliam, I think he makes great movies. Like Brothers Grimm is a shit movie because he's not trying to be him, he's just trying to be like a hack for hire, and it doesn't fucking work because he's got no instincts for that. And Zero Theorem and Parnassus is like, hey, you're Terry Gilliam. You know, have some money and go and make what you like, and it's a fucking mess. It's a mess. Parnassus and Zero Theorem, like, what is this about? What is it for? What do you even make? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Anyway, back to Neeson and the Commuter.
Is he going to keep making action films now? Why did he come back for this?
I don't know. What did he do in between that wasn't making action films? Because Taken 3 was only like a couple of years ago. In fact, Run All Night was only a couple of years ago.
All I know is he's supposed to have retired from it.
But when? Like, okay, he went and did Silence with Martin Scorsese, but apart from that, like, what did he retire? I mean, I know he said it. Like, I know he said, I'm getting too old for this. And blah,
Run
blah,
All Night
blah.
was the last one, no? Or was it Taken 3?
One of the two, I don't remember.
But that was, I mean, weren't you living, no. Weren't you still living on 86th Street when we saw Run All Night?
No, I was in the Bronx.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was a kid. So, yeah, I guess it was only like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, he didn't retire. But so my last point on this movie.
All right.
This is my last point on this movie. First of all, just generally do not go and see it. Secondly, I think Liam Neeson, for his character, he went, this is what you get. You get me with a normal voice at the beginning of the movie, and by the end of the movie, I'm going to be talking like that. So all I want from you as a director is just tell me at what point, like I imagine he annotated his script with normal, slightly gruff, ever so slightly more gruff, heavy gruffness, excessively heavy gruffness, and I think that's just where he went. Oh, and at one point he put make goggle eyes, gurn my face. Oh, and
Make Arnie noises.
Yeah, I'll make Arnie noises.
There's
and
whole
also,
scenes.
and make sure the camera is close enough to slide off my sweaty, wrinkled forehead.
Oh, we're good. We'll get the check.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
You have a good one.
The After Movie Diner with Jon Cross will return right after this.
Six foot 225 pounds. Sophisticated, popular, and imbued with a supernatural foot capable of stealing your senses.
I can't smell anything.
My hearing.
What's with you? Why can't I see you?
They call him Sensefoot, and he's an unstoppable force. Or is he? The small town of Woodsville Center has a glimmer of hope. Officer Rusty Sinclair and Officer Wolf are the Slingshot Cops. It's the greatest sense theft-related showdown that New England has ever known. Slingshot Cops.
Slingshot Cops is now available on Amazon Prime. Go check it out on Amazon. You can rent it, or if you have Amazon Prime, you just watch it as part of your Prime subscription. Check out Slingshot Cops today. It's phenomenal. Also, while you're at it, why don't you check out the Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast? It is all great things about music and about movies and about the life and times of Matt Farley, Mr. Moturn Media himself, who has written over 18,000 songs. He's encroaching on that 19,000 number as we speak. Why don't you take a listen to it? You find out all about his creations and his ideas and his work ethic, and it's a fascinating ride. You can check it out on Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast for all the back issues, and then the Moturn Media Infomercial Podcast for all the new ones. Check it out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, all the places where podcasts are normally found.
Hello, folks. This is a promo for a podcast called The Chris and Chris Show. I'm Chris with a C.
And I'm Chris with a K. The Chris and Chris Show is a movie podcast where myself and my colleague, Chris with a C,
Hello.
discuss our thoughts on films from a wide variety of genres, all in our own inimitable style.
Here's what the masses are saying about the show. Funny, irreverent film analysis.
Reviews are great and spot on. Subscribe now.
The Chris and Chris Show is a slickly produced and fun podcast with two gents who have great chemistry.
They sound like two old men.
I don't read that one.
Oh, sorry. Keeps me intrigued and keeps me entertained.
There you have it. What are you waiting for? Head on over to www.wafo.
The audio equivalent of dysentery.
Stop reading the bad ones. What are you doing? Anyway, head on over to wafofm.com. That's WAFUFM.com to check out the show or subscribe to The Chris and Chris Show on iTunes.
Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Chris and Chris Show. That's Chris with a C, Chris with a K.
Lovely.
The biggest load of I've ever heard.
What are you doing?
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling.
It's a shame because I really felt like I thought the days of us going to see Neeson or Cusack or Cage or whatever in big screen action films might be over. You know, that it might just be superhero or, you know, franchise starting mistakes. And I was really excited that our first film back after a few months out was going to be a Liam Neeson action film, first one in years. And it just was, I wasn't that long. I was quite bored a few minutes in, but I was prepared to give it a chance. I can't remember where it was that I thought, oh, this is just bollocks. I'm fucking bored. I think it was when he was sitting down having the awkward conversations with people. So I remember thinking, I hate watching these scenes in movies where people have awkward, forced conversations with other people.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I hate it. And I think this whole movie is going to be that.
Right. Also, you can't...
And then I gave up.
Like, you... It went from literally him sitting around talking waffle with people to him suddenly being strong enough after having been beaten up 3 times to leap from all of a sudden, all of a sudden, an excessively speedy train. Like, at no point had the train been going that fast, and all of a sudden it was like fucking runaway, unstoppable. I expected Denzel Washington and Chris Pine to be like waving from the sideline. Right. First of all, it was all of a sudden going epic speed. They were like, oh, there's a bend coming up, and suddenly we have to have this whole like long drawn out CGI sequence where they're trying to uncouple a train, which involves like 2 of them, one of whom is like an over-the-hill fat black train guy
who has not learned how to transport an object from one place to another place without carrying it himself. Throw it, mate.
Yeah.
Liam, can you just step out of the way? I'm going to throw the hammer, and that way I don't have to die.
Yeah.
Because he just jumped over and died.
Yeah. What I mean
He jumped
was...
over, and then Liam went out with the hammer, and he stood there behind him.
I will go, okay, so he was a cop 10 years ago. I'll accept that he can punch a few throats. I'll kind of make that leap. What I can't really justify is the heroic feats of strength, where it literally meant that Neeson had to Neeson apart 2 train cars.
Yeah.
Like, he literally had to use the power of sweaty Neeson to uncouple a train
I like
car.
the way a 60-year-old cop, or rather a 60-year-old insurance agent, who 10 years ago was a policeman, has the better of a 20-year-old highly trained FBI agent in a fist fight.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
I mean,
Also,
I
he
get
has
it.
the better of Patrick Wilson, who's 42 or whatever.
It's fine. It's like, you know, whatever. But just, if all you're going to show me is preposterous piffle with literally nothing
to back it up. Yeah.
Good about it. Thank you very much.
You take so much. What also makes me laugh is in these movies where, like, they do it sometimes with Statham movies as well, right? But they do it where they have to be an X this or an X that or an X whatever in order to justify what. I don't get. Start the movie and go, he is a highly trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu warrior who spends most of his time punching throats and shooting people in the face. Like, he doesn't need to be a regular schmo. Like, because if he's a regular schmo, then it's Die Hard, right? And in Die Hard,
although of course there are like ludicrous leaps or whatever, most of it feels real. It doesn't have to be real. I mean, people have already proven that if like you did 3 of the things that John McClane does in that movie within the first 10 minutes, you'd be dead. Like it's not about reality, but if it feels real, that's fun, right? So it's either that, where you have to keep the action like bloody and gritty and feeling real and so on, which I think Run All Night kind of did.
Yeah, I like that. Because it was because he was a bit of a thick mob enforcer,
right?
Who decided did he want to take a stand or not,
right?
And it's like, do they want to cross? You know, he might be dumb,
right?
But he's still strong. Do they want to cross him? It was
right.
It was cool. It was
but what I mean is the action felt real. Whereas, with this, if you're going to go, well, he's 10 years a cop, not even a particularly like high-ranking cop, like a low-level lieutenant detective, right? So he's not even. It's not even like he's fucking, I don't know, a SWAT member or something. Like there's nothing special about him whatsoever, right? And it was 10 years ago, and he's an insurance agent, and he's 60 years old. You can't have him you can't have CGI Neeson flapping around at the end of a chain while trains flip over as if they were dominoes in all directions. The action either has to feel real, or just make him a fucking superhero and have done with it. Like you can't.
I'm with you. I mean, I get. You're right. I don't mind. I don't mind it when they had the shit beat out of them and they're just sort of they're still going, but they're bleeding from an ear hole, and and they've only got one eye open.
You're bleeding, mate. Where from? An ear hole.
You've got an ear hole bleed. Very common in 60-year-old insurance agents.
You've got an ear hole bleed, mate. I would have that checked out.
In situations of extreme stress.
I would have that
very
checked
common.
Out. Yeah.
But that's fine, but not. Because you're right. In order to make the film exciting, they had to turn him into like a fucking like Rocky Balboa / Statham. I mean,
right.
I'm really disappointed. I really wanted to like it.
It's why the Expendables works to some extent, because you just go, well, they're all just like kick hard, rock solid mercenaries, and they've all been like stabbing throats and punching balls and shooting faces for 40 years, and that's fine. But you can't have Mr. Mild-mannered, middle-class, middle finger up at Goldman Sachs commuter dude.
So on balance,
flipping trains over.
On balance, where does this leave the Liam Neeson does good movies or Liam Neeson does bad movies? So on the good movies front, we've got Taken 1,
Non-Stop, Run All Night, and
Walk
Among the Neesons.
Walk Among the Neesons.
Neeson Among the Neesons.
That's it? Nothing else?
Some people like that wolf one where he
I like the grey. Yes, I do like the grey.
So there's those
5,
and then the bad ones.
Taken 2,
Taken 3,
Unknown.
It's not really an action movie, is it? Is Unknown an action movie? It's more of a behind the cold.
It's part of that. Europe? It's part of his action movie.
Is it though?
Thing, isn't it?
All right. I mean, he has one fight with Aidan Quinn at the end.
I think you could describe it. I mean, I guess it's probably more of a thriller. Maybe that one, but also
the bad ones are Taken 2, Taken 3, The Commuter, and that's it. And I think considering
and the A-Team.
And the A-Team is awful, but he's not. That's not a Neeson-driven. Like, there's a lot of Bradley Cooper in it. What I'm saying is,
fair point. Okay.
There's also a CGI fucking tank.
So depending on whether you count A-Team and Unknown,
right,
he's either dead even on good versus bad, or he's in the black.
Right, but this is my point. This is my point. Until I've seen a whole string of like mitigating bilge Neeson, I'm always going to give Neeson the benefit of the Neeson.
In fact, even with this guy, I think this guy can direct a movie, and I think Neeson can still cut it as an action star, no question. However, this director is drawn to high concept ideas that he doesn't have the patience or discipline to pass out into like effective moments throughout the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the big problem with this one was that it was like non-stop on a train, but without all the action.
Right. But what I'm saying is, that if you have like a high concept, like he's got to find this thing, and it's going to be by this time, and because this person's going over here, and blah 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 blah, then you have to be able to pass that information out into like moments in your movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The moment where you find out who the guy is and what's in the bag and where the family are, all those, they need to be like effectively
Also, this
distributed.
one seemed weirdly low budget compared to other ones.
Yeah, well, that's
The way it was shot and the way it was...
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, Sam Neill's hardly in it.
No,
Vera
but I
Farmiga,
just-
no, but even that point, as in the two big names in it apart from him, Farmiga and Neeson. Neil.
Well, Wilson is probably more well-known
Wilson,
than
okay.
Neil, but yeah, okay, yeah.
But
yeah.
even those, like,
Farmiga and Wilson, it was in England, dude. I tell you why. Farmiga and Wilson were just doing the Conjuring 2 over there. I bet like they got him like a couple of days off the set of that or something. Although, no, wait, The Conjuring 2 came out a while ago. Maybe they were filming like The Conjuring 3 over there. So there's definitely, because they're both in The Conjuring, Boring Wilson and Farmiga.
Hey, you think it might have been shelved for a while?
No, because then it would bump into Run All Night. Run All Night only came out like 2-3 years ago. Like, how long has it been shelved?
Yeah, I suppose so.
It
Oh,
just-
no, it is, because they said 10 years. Since 2008.
Yeah.
So that's why. Okay, so it wasn't shelved. I don't know. I don't know why they made it. I don't care. The problem was not the budget. The problem was the script.
Yeah.
And that, just don't fucking buy it. Buy another script. Or write one for nothing yourself.
Yeah.
I think the guy's got good instincts. He's drawn, the unknown was the same. High concept that just doesn't work. Because to have a high concept, it's got to intrigue you. It's a mystery. It's got to be intriguing and involving. And this was just fucking dull.
I think that, and the other problem is like you say, it's very one-ended. So like the last 20 minutes are very exciting. But the trouble is by the time the last 20 minutes kicked in, I was already at the point of being like, I get it. No, I know how this is ending. Can we get to the end?
Yeah,
please?
yeah.
Like so I couldn't really relax and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's true. Because we knew it wasn't going to be Neil. It was actually going to be Wilson. We knew they were all going to stand up and say, "I'm Spartacus."
Like the thing that really irritated me was like they were trying to uncouple the train, and that went on forever and ever and ever and ever, and then they uncoupled it, but no, they didn't because the chain got stuck. And I was like, all right, look. This movie has been far too long and far too boring for us to suddenly have it's going to be a double amount of suspense. It's not a double amount of suspense. It's a double amount of frustration because I'm sat here going, end now.
Yeah.
And then the train uncouples and we have that big scene and blah, 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 blah.
At
Then
least
he sat in the train for another interminably long 20 minutes while Wilson comes in and bores the place up a bit with his stinky, boring Wilson way. It was awful. Don't watch it.
Do we really need to see another?
Oh, it's fantastic. No, thank you so much. It's fantastic. Thank
Do
you.
we really need to see another movie where there's at a tenth moment they have to uncouple a train?
No.
Like, I'm fucking done with watching people at tenth moments try to uncouple trains.
No, exactly.
Just think of fucking something else.
Yeah, and also once you've done Neeson with a bunch of passengers in a confined spot and you've done it as successfully as non-stop, don't try and like double egg the pudding because you just...
I agree. Or just call it Non-Stop 2 and put the same character on a fucking train. I would fucking watch that.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why, but this time, don't worry, Liam, this time you're going to play a proper character. Maybe they just, tricked him into thinking it wasn't going to be an action film. And then they went, no.
Listen, this guy did Taken 2 and Taken 3, both of which were awful. And they weren't just awful because Olivia Megaton couldn't fucking direct his way out of a wet sock. Although that was one of the massive reasons. It was bad because there was literally no script. Like Taken was an idea that was really good, executed really well, and had a proper through line and was a good old-fashioned action movie. To sequelize it, you can maybe do that once with any kind of success. Like, someone else in his life gets kidnapped. You can do that once, maybe. Right? But not in the way that they did it, because they did it in they did what they did with the Expendables. The first one is a hard R. Like the first one, he fucking sticks, nails through people's legs and electrocutes people and shoots people in the face and throw punches them and kicks them off bridges in front of moving trucks and everything else. And in the second one, it's a lot of twatty hand-to-hand combat that sounds like this a lot. And in the one sequence where he does break someone's neck, they actually edited it out and removed the sound effects so they could make it a PG-13. And that's the problem with action sequels, is unless you go unless you follow the formula of the first one, but ramp it up and make it even more violent, even more bloody, and even more ludicrous, all you're going to get is people going, well, that was awful. And then they did it a third time. And went, you know what's going to be the charm in the third one? How about we edit every scene like with 50 edits where one would do? And, wait for it, gold, Forest Whitaker sits in a bagel shop and eats bagels and comments on how warm they are. Let's make that a key plot point in Taken 3. The warmth of the bagels.
Wait, no, look, wait. You haven't heard about the bagels.
You know who's dynamic? Forest Whitaker.
You know
no one's ever said that. No one's ever said that. Lazy-eyed.
You know what we need to pick this movie up? To lift it up. Is Forest Whitaker eating bagels. I've been wanting to do that for years, says Megaton.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to go ahead and guess is not his real name.
I don't know.
Can't be his real
French
name.
and weird.
Oliver Megaton.
And what's Olivier Megaton? I think. But what's funny is that it's literally a plot point. The warmth of the bagels. There's actually a scene in which Forest Whitaker, with his lazy eye and his meandering gut, takes a bit off the bagel, eats it, and goes, "That is warm," and looks off into the middle distance.
I've got a bigger question to finish off with, right?
Okay, to finish off the whole episode, yeah.
So Liam Neeson's like weird face.
Yes. Oh, it's very weird.
One of the things is he's too old, right? Nick Cage, weird face, too old. John Cusack, weird face, too old.
You're saying they get together and do a movie called The Weird Faces, where
this is not the worst idea.
Where the plot point hinges on like facial recognition.
No.
And because they have really weird faces, they get to get away with a heist or something.
No, here's my question.
Like the police, there's a sequence of the police where the police looks at the sketch artist rendering of the weird faces
These people don't
and goes, "These people, there's no way
You
these
made
weird."
this up. No.
Meanwhile, Steve Buscemi walks past and they wrestle him to the ground and go, "This way." Anyway, sorry, that's all.
Their faces.
Oh my God. Imagine if it was, okay, Neeson, Cusack, Cage, Willem Dafoe, and Steve Buscemi. Is that too much weird faces?
I think Steve Buscemi and Willem Dafoe do need to be in some kind of a... Insurance agents investigating crimes.
Yeah.
With Steve Buscemi and Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the weird faces.
And the weird faces, yeah, that could work. No, okay, but here's my point, right? They have weird faces because they're old, right? Because they're old.
Right.
I have a serious question. They have weird faces because they're old. They're too old.
Yeah.
So, if they're too old, who's going to make the movies that we want to go and see?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Pacino's too old, De Niro's too old. They're all too old now. So who is there?
Okay, well, first of all, I don't have a problem with old, weird people.
I don't either, but I'm saying...
So that's the first thing. But the second thing, I know what you're saying. Where is your mid-range action star of the future?
With charm.
With charm,
like
I get it. The answer is... there isn't any, because if there are any at all, they've been scooped up by the superhero regime, and they're probably in amongst them. It will take, I'll be interested to see if we go see Proud Mary, for example, because she's middle-aged, I think she's in her 40s. It'll be interesting to see if they can do something with her. So there's and maybe it becomes a series, or maybe she does other action films, I don't know. There is... weirdly enough, it's very women stacked. There's Gina Carano, who is a martial artist turned actor who's doing some sort of mid-range.
Okay.
They're not particularly interesting, but she is doing mid-range straight-to-video action movies. There is Colombiana, which is Zoe Saldana.
Oh.
Who is
From
not...
Star Trek, she's like...
Well, no, she did action before she did Star Trek, and she could always go back to it.
She did that one movie that wasn't very good.
But yeah, okay, so... Who else?
Well, Statham's got a few movies left of him, right?
Statham's punching sharks in his next film.
Is he?
Meg. Statham is in a film called Meg where he literally punches sharks, I think.
Cool, we should go and see that.
Or he better punch sharks.
We'll go and see that one.
The Rock, I suppose, will keep doing mid-range.
But I don't... Well, he either does like big budget
Comedy.
Like Vin Diesel could do some.
Yeah.
I'd watch Vin do things.
You know who I really wish had gone on to do some more? He was in Bullet in the Head with Stallone, and he's also in the Fast and Furious franchise. And that's that Asian actor. I forget his name, but he's like super cool. He plays like Han in the Fast and Furious franchise.
I don't like those movies at all.
And he was in Bullet in the Head as like the sidekick to Stallone.
Quite liked it, but it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be.
No, true, but I'm
Escape Plan was like, this is awesome.
Well, then you know they're doing Escape Plan 2 and 3 back to back.
Well, I'll watch those. Well, we should see those. Those will be the same.
Yeah.
So there are movies that are coming out that.
Yeah, no, there are. But I don't hold out much hope for Escape Plan 2 and 3. Like, Escape Plan 1 was a fluke. Let's be fair. And it's only because Arnie rips the gun off a helicopter in slow motion.
Yeah, but if it's Arnie and Stallone escaping from something, I will watch that again because it was charming.
But yeah, in terms of mid-range, I don't know. You see, you need, in order for you to do the Cusack Cage route, you need to have a few blockbusters, but also
fall on hard times.
But then also fall on hard times because of either taxation or your political views. In the case of Cusack, he kind of got a little bit blacklisted for being just a loudmouth political guy. That's why Tim Robbins doesn't really do very much anymore either.
That makes sense. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's that. I think what happens is certain types of actors who are leads, like Cage and Cusack, they reach an age, mid-40s, where they're just too old to play the characters they've been playing for all this time.
And they have weird faces.
And they have weird faces, and they have to do something else. So what we're looking for is we're looking for people who are currently anchoring,
whose faces
who
could
are like
turn weird in the next 10 minutes.
Quirky indie leading actors who in 5 years are going to run out of roles, and their weird faces are going to take them to do weird films that we will then see and go, I've always liked him.
Yeah, they'll come about. They always come about. I mean, in terms of action stuff, we've got like Scott Adkins and Iko Uwais and various other people like still out there doing action films. But I mean,
I'm not saying that. I mean, that's
you're talking about
charm and charisma.
I mean, when you look at Cusack,
the
incredible thing about Cusack is that he has literally done. There isn't a genre he hasn't done. Like he's done every genre, even at his prime. He was doing, everything from comedies to dramas to action films to blockbusters.
Reynolds might.
Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds, he might become. He's got a weird face. He's about 5 years away.
No, he's probably a good 10 years away from full-blown Cusack weird faceness.
Yeah, but I think he could go there.
His face could get weird if he lost a lot of weight or if he started dyeing his hair.
Hitman's Bodyguard, for the first 20 minutes,
I didn't watch
this is nearly good. There was there's some sparky banter. It was genuinely quite funny. And then it degenerated into really lame banter. It was like, guys, you can't just banter all the way through this movie.
Ooh, you know who could go kind of weird, and who I kind of like since the Wet Hot American summer TV shows, and that's Chris Pine. I could see Chris Pine being a kind of... In fact, not weird face because he's trying to lose too much weight. Weird face because he puts on a little bit too much weight to be a leading man in like a regular conventional movie.
Yeah, and he seems to be just kind of like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just going to be in weird things.
Like, what if Pine does... Okay, so this is my
Pine
prediction.
I could see.
In the next 10 years, Pine does a film to like prove his acting chops, where he like gains a bunch of weight, right? To like prove his acting chops. When he loses the weight, he suddenly has a weird face.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he loses too much weight.
Yes.
Oh,
Pine.
and you know who else might go that route if really nothing else comes to him? Christian Bale. Bale would have a very weird face.
Bale's gonna turn into... Who would be a good Bale comparison? Bale's too full of himself.
The trouble with English actors nowadays, they're all too po-faced. They're all so full of themselves.
I don't think Bale will do it.
I'd love to see Tim Roth do
That's why I think
action.
Chris Pine and Ryan Reynolds genuinely... Like, Ryan Reynolds does quite silly... R.I.P.D., which, by the way, is quite fun, is immensely silly.
Yeah.
But it is quite fun. By the way, okay, you're not going to agree with me on this, right? But King Arthur's quite good.
What King Arthur?
King Arthur Daily. You know, Guy Ritchie's King Arthur.
With Clive Owen and Keira Knightley?
No. The new one, the one that Guy Ritchie made a King Arthur movie, and it is honestly like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Dragons or whatever. It's completely. You have to watch it to believe it's happening. There really are like Cockney mates, like bringing down the evil king. Oi, Ghost Fat
I
Bill.
don't even know what it is.
You've never even heard of it. It was like supposed to launch like a new franchise with like Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, and it's completely bonkers.
Yeah.
But I really quite enjoyed it.
Oh, there's another one.
What?
Jude Law.
Law, definitely, maybe. He's quite good. He's in King Arthur as he's like a slimy double-crossing, backstabbing villain, and he's really good at being a slimy, double-crossing, backstabbing villain.
I feel like Jude Law will get weird face syndrome in about another 3 years.
He's already got weird face syndrome.
Yeah?
Yeah. It could be Law.
Well, there we go. That was about 25 minutes worth of discussion about weird face syndrome and where it can lead you in your career. If you're listening, Law, Reynolds and Pine, get on it. And while you're still around, Cage, Cusack, Defoe, Buscemi, Travolta. Who else was in the weird face gang?
What would they be called then? Like
the weird faces. No, Neeson was the other weird.
Yeah, the weird faces. Yeah.
The weird faces.
Yeah.
And they're like a gang of crooks that always get away with the crimes because the police cannot possibly believe that anyone.
And they all dress like mods from the 60s.
Yeah. And the
so
police
they're like the faces, but they're the weird faces.
They're the weird faces.
And all the music has to be by the small faces, all the faces.
All the faces.
Yeah.
But then
Wouldn't it be nice?
the cops actually see them on security cameras, like not even disguised. They actually look in the cameras and be like blur and make a face. And the cop goes, I think they're wearing masks.
Can we all just imagine where they're all like walking down, like with like an explosion behind them, or whatever?
Yeah.
Cusack, Cage, Neeson, Defoe and Buscemi.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice to get to with me neighbours? Weird faces.
The weird faces.
I could do that. Could work. I like it.
And with that, let's say goodbye.
All right. Thanks
for
for
this
having
episode
me,
of the
man.
After Movie Diner.
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
Good to have you back.
Cheers, man.
Well, back in 2011, I find a movie going to see. A film by Jim and John movie starring Iggy Pop and me. But when the show was over, I'd nowhere to go, so I'd end up in a bar, sipping my bourbon and feeling low. One night, this wild-looking guy called Frank came over and asked me why I looked so sad as I drank. I told him about my post-movie blues, and then I saw the light in his glass eyes. He told me to go to the after-movie diner. I'm surprised you don't know there's no place finer. Come on now, let's go. Well, Mr. Jon Cross, well, he's a man. He's a man with a beard and a man with a plan. Yeah, he is. With Jim and John and Madam Mark, tune in to French Cobbler to start. Yes, and reviews, opinions, interviews, comedy and news, Don Doler and his films, and George Stover at the After Movie Diner. Now it's 5 years old. There's nowhere finer. That's the place to go. Oh, the After Movie Diner is where I go. Oh, that After Movie Diner. It's one hell of a show. I just kill that rattlesnake with skillet pan.